So we've been talking about energy fields and how they regulate a lot of what happens on Earth. And those energy fields have a pattern that are designed to have an outcome that the makes us the way we are and makes the world the way it is. And we're going to explore a little bit about that and see if we can understand more about how we fit into that picture.
It's an interesting topic because people don't think about this world as fields, but look at the light around us. We have a lighting grid here that's creating a field that's allowing the photons to bounce off us and to affect the scene. That's an energy field. The heat coming up from the heater is a field of energy, but so is the electromagnetic field, the Wi-Fi field.
There are a lot of fields we don't even know about.
We don't know about most of them.
Why is this dimension turned out to be the way it is, and how do we fit into it? I mean, we fit into a field, and it affects the way we can behave because there are rules.
And we affect the field itself by who we are and how we respond to that field.
Right.
So it's the elephant in the room that nobody ever talks about because what's happened, Len? What is science? As a doctor, what has science deteriorated into?
Well, science is necessarily deteriorated because, first of all, it's too complicated to understand. There are too many variables. There are conflicts of interest that affect how people report what the fields do. And a lot of it's not transparent. And frankly, I don't care about it much because I live in the field and that's my reality. And it's okay. But it's good to talk about it too, to kind of understand that the field has a lot to do with how you can behave and in ways that you can express yourself.
And we've become so materialized. We've become like these entities that exalt the material and the facts and the five sense testimony of our world that we've stopped thinking about fields and we only think about what we can touch and feel.
Right.
And that's a fraction of our reality. And no wonder why people don't have enough energy. No wonder why people have a problem healing. No wonder why people have lost their spiritual connection.
Well, we try to understand the ununderstandable rather than realize that life is for living. And whether you understand it or you just know it is a big difference. But the understanding part doesn't really matter. What matters is what you know. And if you can be present in your life, in your world, and just experience what's offered to you by the world the way it's created, then you get something out of it that's experiential rather than intellectual, which leads, I think, to analysis paralysis.
Sure.
And then you don't really know or don't really pay attention to what's happening rather than worrying about how it works.
People have lost sight that most of their experience is from the heart, from their intuitive mind.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we've had this sense that we have to develop our intellect. We have to use our minds to see things and measure them and judge them and what's good and what's bad.
We want metrics.
And those metrics are not what the heart uses.
No.
So here's the average beautiful person going around the world with an amazing heart, seeing things intuitively, sensing another person by what they feel, yet that doesn't get registered. What gets registered is, do I have more money than them or they have more money than me? Do I look better than them? Am I using the right makeup? Am I bigger or stronger? And all the wrong survival mind and intellectual mind parts of our mind rather than the intuitive part of our mind that can see the energy fields. That's our inherent nature. It's why animals, we love animals. We have pets. We spend more money on pets than we do on children's health. Seriously, look at the numbers. Because we know intuitively that these animals have a connection to spirit. The animals around us are pets.
They don't analyze it, do they?
No, they're purely intuitive entities.
They live it.
And I think they're here to teach us in some ways what we've forgotten.
Or that's right, that we don't practice from. Life is for living. You know, that an 8-year-old kid taught me that. You don't have to understand it, Dr. Len. You don't have to understand it, but you have to be present.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of philosophers talk about. It's about the precious present, Leo Buscaglia stuff, or some of the other people who have talked about how you deal with your presence. How deep can you go into the moment?
But how hard is that for the average person?
It's hard for anybody.
Why?
Just because we're preoccupied with what we're doing rather than just being. I think there's no limit to how deep you can go in meditation to be present. And that's what the gift is that we were given when we were born, was the precious moment. And we get distracted from that by things that don't really matter as much. When you lost connection with your spiritual essence, what do you have left? So I think that there is no limit to how deep you can go in meditation. You know, you're in the deepest meditation. Can you go deeper? Yeah. Can you go deeper yet? Yeah. Where's the bottom line to that? Is that where you transcend from being trapped in this world, from being present with all that there is? I kind of think so, but I've never been as deep as I can go. Is that a portal out of here?
I think every moment of our waking consciousness is a meditation.
It can. Well, it is.
It is, but we've misaligned it by allowing our experience to be hijacked by our intellectual mind.
And our fear rather than our curiosity.
Absolutely. So that is our survival and intellectual mind that peel us away from the moment, that peel us away from our heart center. No wonder we don't have our power. No wonder people have lost their power, because they've lost the truth of being present. That's when you have all your power. So imagine every bit, 100% of your power is when you're in heart center moment. Every time you worry about the future, every time you look back at the past, every time you're defined by the timeline,
takes you away from the moment.
It takes you away from the moment. And that is the game, because the media, the government, even our religions get us away from the moment.
We're looking for rules to tell us how to behave rather than being present with curiosity rather than fear, and a willingness to see what happens.
But why is that scary? Why does fear get people out of the present?
Well, we're trained that way.
Right.
When you grow up, there are rules for everything. What you're taught takes you into a box where you learn what's in that box. As soon as you step out of that box, it's unknown.
Right.
And you don't really know. When one door closes and another one opens, that door stays shut.
Yeah.
The new one's open, and as you look out of the window of that new door that opens, there's a whole world out there that is unfamiliar.
And that could be scary to people.
It is scary to an extent. It's a balance of fear and curiosity that's going to determine how engaged you can be in just seeing what happens. The fear takes you out of the moment. The curiosity takes you in the moment.
But why are kids so curious? Why have we all?
Because they're natural. They're not burned by all the rules of society. Yes.
We've all been kids. Last I checked.
Well, I like to still be one.
Yeah, I try my best. The Taoists say, the Taoists in China, the old wizards, always said, return to your childlike self. Return to your childlike body. And it sounds easier than it sounds, but it's like we have to peel off our conditioning that has told us to shut down and support our intellect. But a child, each of us, has been naturally curious.
Well, you do until you put your hand on the hot stove and you realize that's not a good idea. Mm-hmm. You don't do that again. So it's a balance of things, which is what makes it so interesting. But I think that if you can get your mind in a place where you're just focused on being present in the deepest meditation that's possible, that something magic happens, because you're in a space that's different. It's when I feel the oneness of what the whole universe is like. And I don't know where I am. I'm not analyzing it. I'm just experiencing the moment. And I don't know how deep that can go, but most of the time I get distracted by the realities of living in a world that's complicated and to a big extent messed up.
But I think the deepest place we can go in that place is to return back to the most common moments like this and say, can I sustain that presence? Can I sustain that heart resonance in the average everyday thing I do?
Yeah,
that's the deepest state to me.
Well, it's a very deep place, and it's a practical way to solve it.
But it's not easy for people, because I watch how quickly
they go to It's not easy for me, because I get distracted with the everyday stuff that I do. But I know about it. I don't understand it, but I do know about it. And it's a precious part of my experience as a person. And then to have interchanging fields how we relate to one another, the synergy and the beauty of what comes out of that is very exciting to me.
Yeah.
And that's what you and I do.
Right.
I mean, we have a very special relationship.
And to me, that is what living is about. Let's pause for a moment. Look at your camera thing.
What happened?
I don't know.
It's okay.
But it's not recording, most likely.
It's still recording?
It's not recording. So let's. Yeah, does it look like it's still going? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So we can always cut and come back to that.
Okay.
But it's better to keep it on like
this thing turns off, but it doesn't really turn off.
Oh.
So when you push, it comes back on.
Okay.
So the excitement for me of our relationship is the synergy and how those fields change each one of our individual fields into a new relationship that's ours. Mm-hmm. And I think we all have that with every relationship we have with everything that there is in the universe. And when I get in that deep meditative state, which I can get into actually pretty easily because I'm practiced at it, not that I do formal meditation, but I intuitively have a meditative state that I have. I feel the expanse of the universe, and I'm just present in it, not trying to analyze it, and just experiencing it. And that's so different from how everyday life is run. We get challenged by things that don't matter much.
But that's what our conditioned mind do to us.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what the conditioning of society does to us, to keep us out of the present. And the best way to control people, whether it's in school or whether it's in government, whether it's in anything in life, it's by getting a person out of their power. And you think, well, why wouldn't a leader want us to be in power?
No.
Well, you're not very pliable when you're in your power. When you're in your power, you're in your heart-centered, intuitive mind. And in that place, you can see things in a very deep way. Sadly, the conditioning wants you to see it in a very restricted way.
Yeah, they want you to behave to their rules.
And that's what conditioning does. A condition is a restricted set of perceptions. And we're trapped in that 5 sense testimony of the world. How do we become free? Why do you feel so good in those meditative states? Is because you immerse and you surrender to your heart.
I detach from the rest.
Or you translate the rest into heart.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we have to be careful that we're not escaping from this world. We're actually enhancing the world. We're seeing the world for what it truly is, as a mirror, a reflection of what we carry in our intuitive mind. Now the world changes. Why does everybody love you and they see you? They come up and hug you, Dr. Saputo. So great to see you, Len. Because you're carrying that vibration. Where another person, oh no, it's Bob again. I don't want to talk to him. He's always bringing up bad subjects or annoying. We create those worlds. And that might seem really kind of cliche and obvious way, but everybody's carrying a field around them.
Oh, for sure.
And we got to ask ourselves, what am I contributing to my field? What are you contributing to your field? That's the only thing we should really be asking. And is that contribution heart-centered and heart-resonant?
It is heart-centered.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, yours is because you've committed to that your whole life.
Well, that's the way I want to be.
Yeah.
And I'm experienced with it. And I've been that way my whole life to some extent, even though I've never understood it. I've known what it does. And it's easy for me to go into that space, even like at the moment. I think of the expanse of the universe and the connection that is inseparable. You know, when that happens, the oneness is so peaceful and relaxing. There's nothing to do except to be observant and curious and trusting and connected. And I think it's all an expression of love.
Right. I always define love as where you place your heart resonant focus.
That's a beautiful way to say it.
So if you think love is the hallmark card of love, you love the puppy, or I love somebody because she's so good to me.
Yeah.
These are dangerous definitions of love. You know, the Greeks had 8 different definitions of love.
Wow.
They were very careful to say there's 8 different kinds of love, but there's only one kind of agape, one kind of love that is fully heart-centered and present. That's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So I hope that when people hear us speak about love, we're only talking about agape. We're talking about that unconditional love. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about love. It's about where that heart resonant focuses.
Yeah.
Then you're free. Then you're in your power. Then you've just changed reality. People forget they can change reality.
You do whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
There's no way to not affect it, because everything you think and do changes the energy field, and the energy field is what we're talking about when we started the show.
And doesn't that give you power, a sense of like, wow, I hate to use the word hope because hope is future oriented, but right now it gives me a trust that I make a difference. Every thought I have makes a friggin' difference. And people say, oh, I can't make a change. The world is a shit. It's worse now than ever before. That's such a lie. The world's always been a mess. It's not right. It's not any worse now than it ever has been. The only thing you have to remember is it's your world right now, and fold that timeline into this present moment and say, who am I going to be? What am I going to contribute?
Well, it's that way whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. But if you want to believe it's worse now than ever, that's great. Have that reality.
That's okay.
I don't want that reality.
No, it's okay with me, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because all I can do is add my perspective to it. And like you say, every thought you have, every action you take, everything you imagine is all affecting everything.
That's, to me, that is the most empowering thought in the world. And somebody could say, well, my life is terrible. Well, why? Well, because, that person did that to me, or that government set this thing up for me. Look what you just did. You took yourself out of your power. You took the power away from here, and you placed it on something that made you a victim.
Yeah.
We've got to change that, Len. If we want to see the world differently, we've got to stop being victims. And that means owning your heart power and owning the understanding of how we influence this field.
I think that's right. When you get that thought, whether you just know it or understand it, doesn't matter. The whole world changes, and your connection to it becomes more realistic. It becomes an experiential thing that has power, because your field is what you have, and how that field changes the interrelationship with everything else in the universe. And it may be a small piece, but you have to take that first step, and it happens automatically. You don't have to worry about what it does. It does that whether you like it or know it or whatever. Yeah. It is that way. If you can appreciate that, then your respect for yourself, your love for yourself, that's not narcissistic, but just an appreciation, makes it okay. You don't have to do anything else. It's about being in the space that you're in and knowing that it's affecting everything in a small way, but in a real way. And that's what evolution is all about. And that's what I think has happened over the billions and billions of years that these energy fields have been present. They're all growing and learning and adapting and becoming wiser and more functional. And it's a beautiful thing to see the evolutionary process, how energy fields respond to you. You have great deal. You're indispensable. Everybody's indispensable. Every living organism that has a field is indispensable, because it's molding where we're going. It's a beautiful thing.
It is beautiful. I mean, the core of self-love is to remember that you are contributing to the infinite consciousness.
Yeah.
People think infinite consciousness is something out there.
No, it's not out there.
Maybe out between Jupiter and Saturn and the, somewhere. No. The infinite consciousness is permeating every cell in your body, and we have a responsibility.
And every molecule of the universe.
Every molecule, every atom inside every molecule, every subatomic structure is vibrating in that infinite consciousness. Okay. Right? It has to be. There's no definition for the end. It just is, and we're permeated by that. That means that you have one responsibility. Is how do you contribute to that infinite consciousness? Authentically. And when we do it from a heart resonant place, your contribution in those permanent structures of evolutionary consciousness.
There, you got it. You just nailed it.
Is what every time someone did that, throughout history has fed the field.
Yeah.
Now we are either going to help amplify those love signals, we're going to help get those coherent energies and sustain them and pass them on and make this world a better place between each other, or we're going to go in and with that sadness and fear and subterfuge bring the world back down to where it can be. It doesn't matter really. The universe doesn't really matter. It doesn't care. It's where our individual evolution of consciousness, where our choice is.
It's about building community.
And that's what the beauty of community is that if a bunch of people of like-minded energies, that community could be a family, it could be two of us, could be 1,000 of us in our different networks of friends and family. If we all can sustain a certain vibration, we can make amazing changes. That's the power of community.
We are.
And we are.
We are. And every time you give something of yourself to be respectful, to make the world a better place, to follow the golden rule and be kind, every time you promote that, the field changes in a way that's more loving, and the community grows, and we become more fulfilled. Our purpose is unfolding and is permeating everything there is. So this matters.
It does matter.
So the idea of energy fields that we started with, we can come back to and say, yeah, you can't not affect the energy field. Do it in a way that builds community. Do it in a way that's expressing love, which is forgiving and receiving graciously, but not for controlling or taking. And if we can live that way, the world becomes a wonderful place that doesn't have all the dystopian things that we see today. And we have to come back to that. Right. And we can, because humanity, when things get bad enough, has a natural vibration that it puts out that encourages that builds on it, that takes us to the place where our connection is felt in a conscious and an unconscious way, that builds what we need the world to be.
Yeah, I believe the default is heart resonance.
I do too.
I think, and why? Because every child that comes into this world, look at it. We all come into this world in this incredibly unconditioned way. Yes, we have epigenetics. We understand all about that. But those influences are very slight in the beginning. With love and nurturing, that child will sustain those beautiful, innocent ways of being until they get overlapped with conditioned mind. So I believe the default is heart resonance. And it's our opportunity now to return back to our true power.
It's our
default.
gift.
It's our gift. And then we give it to each person by carrying it. So when you model it, I model it, the people around us will say, wow, that feels a lot better than the game.
It gets you into that loving space.
And we can, and that is contagious. So
Thank God.
So let's make sure we keep contributing in that beautiful way and reminding everyone that that is the best way to be. And it's not a fantasy. It's not some new age woo-woo thing.
We all know about it.
This is, everybody gets this.
Amen.
Amen.